Hey guys, Miss Riggs here. I wanted to do our vocab a bit differently. I am going to pre-record our vocab list and post it to our classroom YouTube channel. So feel free to rewind or stop the video at any time. Make sure you're filling out your vocab sheet along with your sentences as you go along through this. And remember, like I said in class, our vocab quiz can be taken at any time during this unit, as long as it's before the date that I say in class. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about in this unit the aquatic ecosystem. So these are some of our main vocab words that we need to know while we're talking about the aquatic ecosystem. So our first word is wetlands. This is an area of land that is periodically underwater or whose soil contains a great deal of moisture. So this is a really important area of water for our ecosystem, and we'll talk much more about this and the importance of wetlands as we go through our unit. But basically, a wetland is not completely underwater for a lot of the year, but some of the year it is completely underwater. So this holds a lot of biodiversity in the wetlands. A lot of animals reproduce in the wetlands, and they're really important for our ecosystem. So our next word is going to be plankton. We generally know these organisms as phytoplankton. Those are the most abundant planktons in our aquatic ecosystems. So these are microscopic organisms that float or drift freely in the waters of aquatic environments. And we saw these in our slides when we took slides of our pond at school. But basically, these are going to be the foundation of the aquatic ecosystem. So this is what the majority of the diversity of the life forms are going to feed on, or they're going to feed on other organisms that feed on plankton. Okay, so our next word is nekton. These are free-swimming organisms. An example of these are fish, sharks, turtles, anything that's going to swim freely in an aquatic ecosystem. Our next word is benthos. These are bottom-dwelling organisms. These are mussels, worms, barnacle. Most of the benthos, most of the benthos are going to be attached to some sort of hard surface like a rock, but they survive deep in the oceans or deep in the aquatic system, a lake, and they don't necessarily thrive off of the sun's energy, but they feed off of other organisms that fall below into the deep waters. The littoral zone, these are a shallow zone in a freshwater habitat where light reaches the bottom and nurtures plants. So there's going to be a good amount of biodiversity in this zone. Light still reaches here. So we're going to have a lot of plants that are rooting below the water, but that come up through the water's surface. The benthic zone, this is the bottom region of oceans and bodies of fresh water. This is going to be where there is not light source, or there's not enough light source to be an energy source. So most of these animals, again, feed off of organisms that fall down into this zone. Eutrophication, we're going to talk a lot about this through this unit, but this is an increase in the amount of nutrients such as nitrates in a marine or aquatic ecosystem. So this is really important to note that we actually contribute to eutrophication by utilizing more fertilizers in our lawns, and the runoff of fertilizers contribute to this. This is a natural phenomenon, but humans make it worse. You can see this dead fish here, but you can see the algae growth because of the abundance of nutrients from fertilizers. Okay, so our next word is estuary. This is an area where fresh water from rivers mixes with salt water from the ocean, the part of a river where tides meet the river current. So you can see up here I have an estuary here. This is fresh water and oceanic water, and it's going to meet and it's going to form like a brackish consistency, which is half salt and half freshwater basically. And this is where a lot of animals are going to come and nest and have their babies. Next, we have a salt marsh. This is a marine habitat characterized by grasses and other plants that have adapted to continual periodic flooding. Salt marshes are found primarily throughout the temperate and subarctic region. So this is similar to a wetland, except it's going to be a saltwater. And a mangrove swamp, a tropical or subtropical marine swamp that is characterized by the abundance of low to tall trees, especially mangrove trees. So you can see these mangrove trees here. You can see their elaborate root systems going through this swampy land here. Barrier islands, these are a long ridge of sand or narrow islands that lie parallel to the shore. So this is, you can see this landform here, and the shore is going to be this direction. So you can see it better here in this picture. But these form a barrier from like tropical storms, things like that. The next vocab word we have is a coral reef. And I think everybody knows what a coral reef is, but we're going to learn a lot more about coral reefs and how we might be affecting a coral reef in this unit. So this is a limestone ridge found in tropical climates and composed of coral fragments that are deposited around organic remains. So these coral are living and they provide habitat for a very broad range of biodiversity in our ocean systems. And we'll talk much more about that later in our unit. But that is all your vocab words. Again, you can take your vocab quiz whenever you'd like, as long as it's before the actual due date. So prepare well, and when you're all prepared, you can take that quiz. If you need to go back to the video, I will give you the link to my YouTube channel, and you can do that at home. You can do that at school. You can also come in during tutorials if you'd like and rewatch the video.